Neither the Lion nor the Doom are going to have, like, the damage coming in fast enough and more frequently to burn through that. But,
Mm,
okay. Lava coming in, getting their carry online. The TB certainly, well, certainly a threatening one. And now all of a sudden that gyrocopter just kind of slots into that supporting role. We always talk about it with the SA teams. Pretty much all of their support players know how to make that position 5 gyro work. So now if you're D2 Hustlers, things get a little bit more interesting. Is a potential Yuma TA something that can compete late game with Terrorblade, which, I mean, honestly, the answer is no, because if you get late enough, nothing really competes with the Terrorblade that far down the line. But now, if you're D2 Hustlers, you need to think, do we want to try and take our chances going late against a Terrorblade, or do we pick something up here with the final selection that can maybe push the timetable forward a little bit?
yeah, it's definitely a problem that now D2 Hustlers have to face because this Terrorblade is the perfect counter versus the Templar. If you don't have a sizable lead on that TA, as soon as you most likely blink in or you overextend just a little bit, that's that hero that wins that range battle. We talk about TA versus Gyro, where, of course, they're both very short ranged heroes. It feels like once they're in the middle of a lot of these fights, then suddenly you're trapped a little bit. And this TB, again, we're talking about that Scotty timing where once you get Scotty, it breaks the matchup. Suddenly the TA can't show up to fights unless you're getting hit up by either an arrow or a ravage. And I think that's where they almost can't slot this TA over to the mid lane. They'd just be way too passive. I think they need an Esk hero now to actually get on top of this TB and slow him up. Of course, TB has one of the slowest buildups in the game. Lava disagree with me. They say that this is possibly going to be a changeup coming from D2 Hustlers. Of course, the PL is your age-old counter versus the TB, where don't really have a great Sunder target. You kind of get flooded, as well as once the fight breaks out, Doom can't really find him either. But it might just be another ban to cover their TB as opposed to actually what D2 Hustlers are going to try and pick up for themselves, because I am really dead set thinking that Esk needs to be someone a little bit more active here. Interestingly, though, they're not banning for this TA being a mid laner, so I guess maybe it is Esk mid and they are just looking for another hero to match up versus the Terrorblade. Unfortunately, Lava have already taken out a few of the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is just a bit of a strange situation. D2 Hustlers are going to have to make a choice, and we're taking our best guess at it, but it's not really clear exactly what the game plan will be for them. But now, we'll see what Lava are thinking with this final ban. As you said, that PL was maybe looking more like just a defensive ban, protect their own TB, as opposed to taking a wild stab in the dark at what you think your opponents are doing. So, we'll see with this ban. If they go for something a little bit different, maybe they are considering the TA switching up her position, but oh, okay.
Yeah.
They come back in for the Ember ban. So yeah, they are still looking at the Yuma Templar Assassin, and Ember is one of the heroes we've seen Esk have the most success on in this event.
Yeah, and this is the benefit of having ultimate last pick. D2 Hustlers are the one that need to make the call whether or not they decide to make this a Yuma TA. I'm thinking of Yuma heroes that really come to the forefront. They could pick the Morphling very reasonably. They could go for a hero like the Faceless Void. It'd be a little bit awkward having a melee 5 and a Tide Hunter, but they need something like that. Otherwise, I think this TB is going to be able to escape in a lot of these situations. I think that there's a little bit of hesitancy from D2 Hustlers. They don't want to be forced to pick Esk into a matchup that's just going to get immediately countered out by Leo style. Of course, the hero that comes to mind right now is there's always that Queen of Pain in the pool where suddenly you pick a hero that's a little bit too weak in lane and then Leo style starts to just style on you and then rotates around the map, because D2 Hustlers, if there's one thing to be said about them, don't have a lot of stuns right now. They're very low on the disable, and they will
Hmm.
go with the Lesh. So another hard farmer, another hero that unfortunately doesn't play very well versus this TB in the mid game, but early on, at least it does fast forward you a little bit further on than maybe some other heroes they could have gone for, but didn't fix the lockdown issue. They really are just planning to play some concise Dota here. They're very good at taking objectives. They've got TA tied for Roche. They've got Lesh for the towers. If D2 Hustlers can play that fast-paced, clean game, then they can definitely kind of take the rug out from under Lava, where Lava don't have those guaranteed plays. There's a much higher level of finesse coming from their lineup. Let's see what Leo decides to play. We'll
Okay.
just be the Kunkka. Okay. another South American classic, just a very solid hero. And that is someone who is actually going to be able to provide some more of that lockdown, not just also being one of the best heroes versus both Abaddon and Tide, just because you have that persistent disable. So it's a really nice, clean pickup for them. But that's where, is it going to be enough? Are they going to be able to delay the game? If Lava can get to that 30-35 minute mark, it is looking pretty rough for D2 Hustlers to win in that timetable. But fast forward in another 10 minutes, I'd probably say the tables are turned.
Yeah, at this point, it just really does seem like it's all about, for Hustlers, being all in on that timing window. As you said, the Leshrac pickup helps them on that front. Later on in the game, you're going to run into trouble, but if all goes well for the Hustlers side, you don't get into that danger zone in the first place, and you end up not having to worry about it in the slightest. But we'll have to see, because they're going to have to play a very up-tempo style, and as you were pointing out, ET, you don't really have an insane amount of lockdown. You can push objectives, sure, you can farm well, but when you need to just go out and get someone, I mean, other than Flea, who really does that? Esk would need something like a Yule setup to guarantee that he could get the splitter, then obviously Monster would have to wait for level 6 before he could really guarantee that initiation. So you're a team that wants to play fast, but you don't necessarily have the tools to do so in terms of early fighting.
Yeah, really, I think for D2 Hustlers, it's the timetable of top tower at 8 minutes, mid tower at 10 minutes, Roche at 13, and then take away the map as much as you can from Lava. Whereas Lava are, if we just play our normal game of Dota and Kataro gets 3 items, then we more or less win. So it really does feel like if they can stall this game out long enough just by some nice little plays, then Lava are going to be in a very dominant position. Again, going into that mid
Just to be
game, I think
clear,
that's
if I
where this
call
game
you
is going
mate,
to
I
barrel
don't mean it
towards, especially if
literally.
D2 Hustlers get that first Roche, meaning it'll respawn around that 25-minute mark. That's really where the game is probably going to be decided.
And as we get things started here, do want to point something out real quick, like a couple of players not officially tagged up. You see the Lion playing under the name Kim. Have had it confirmed by production. This is still Moose. This is their usual player. Not sure if this is a permanent official name change or if something's just gone kind of wrong with him getting his official tag set up, but this is not a stand-in. This is Moose, and obviously Kataro still Menos. Kataro's been a name that he's been sort of bouncing in between for
Just to be clear,
a couple of
if
years
I
now,
call
really. He
you
hasn't been
mate,
able to pick
I
one or
don't
the
mean
other,
it
so
literally.
this is still the normal Lava lineup here. No stand-in situation for them.
Yeah, and we'll have to see, because, of course, Lava is a terrifying team. Of course, Thunder Predator previously, not maybe terrifying at TI, but, you got to TI. That's all that matters. They were very dominant in their DPC qualifier run for the TI, but, yeah, Arrow will miss. I think they're just going to walk this one out, but they are going to get chased all the way out here.
Frank will take a little bit of extra damage. Well, Devi might actually get the curse down, so this is going to hurt a little bit more. Oh, okay, no, it's not. Good play in from Moose, just throwing down the 2-man Earth Spike, and that's going to shut that down. The problem is, man, you see on the high ground, Monster and Esk already made the cross over the river, so they should be able to snag this bounty rune away, but over on the other side, well, MJZ got one, Kataro got another, so they give up one rune, but they still managed to get 3 of the 4.
Yeah, just really clean. Moo's not giving up on the play on the runes, so Tide can't do much against that. And Monster does have to TP top now, so small gold exchange there. I think really in this top lane, it's going to be incredibly key to win this sentry battle on Lava's side, because of course it's always Flea getting sacked but finding his farm in the enemy team's large camp and Monster taking everything by himself. They can really slow down Flea more so than any other team has accomplished so far. It's going to look pretty good for them. Looks like Arrow whiffed, but does get the ranged.
Yeah. You gotta like that line. If I hit Kataro, great. If I don't, get the range creep. It works out either way. Ooh, very nearly got the final hit there to take down the homing missile as well, but not quite able to do so. But Monster, he doesn't care about a level 1 homing missile. We'll see maybe if MJZ can do something later on, if he does go for that 2 points up in the rocket barrage like we see from a lot of the support gyros. Just get in there and start dishing out some of that damage, and well, by that point, maybe Kataro will have the meta back up and they could try to do something. But for now, MJZ is getting a little bit bullied. Hit up by the Gush, trying to get some damage in onto him. Just hoping to delay or, honestly, best case scenario, just remove the threat of this gyro entirely over the first couple of minutes.
Yeah, and they're doing a really good job of making those efficient trades. Of course, Kataro used his meta very early on. He had used it, I think, pre-cast in the wave, just zoning Monster as much as he could off of that first wave, but that's where Flea is completely okay with using all of his mana here for these range creeps, because again, there's no contest. Monster is just able to get this XP solo, because Flea is standing out of XP range on purpose, and he won the sentry battle. He's going to have a large camp in 5 seconds here.
They will have that side pull available to them, although...
Oh, got it.
Oh,
Nice from
MJZ.
MJZ.
Last possible second, really, that he gets that down, but Flea comes over, and he's going to be a little disappointed. Worked hard for that, didn't get it, but see Flea sort of rotating over, just looking to guard here, make sure, yeah, that there's not going to be a pull coming out from the other side either. And, well, now where does he go? He's in the jungle, yeah, he's going to grab himself a creep camp. This is something we always say Flea on this hero does so well, right? Stops the pull attempt from the other side, gets some experience, and once again, shouldn't really be in too much trouble there, but once again, leaves Monster in a solo lane.
Yep, just means that Monster always gets his level 3. He always gets his level 6 at a pretty important timing. I think Flea and MJZ are really just poking each other as much as they can. Also, Flea's just doing a really nice job of making all of that region swap over, but yeah.
Okay, he got the ranged creep pulled in, so... I mean, that's something, but this dance continues between the two supports. Meanwhile, taking a look over at the other side lane here, Yuma pushed back a little bit, and taking a look at his last hits, he just now hit that double-digit mark, so this off-lane duo has tried to be active early in terms of slowing the TA down, and that has to sort of be the operative phrase there, right? Slowing Yuma down, because I don't think this duo can really do enough to just straight up stop the TA. We talked about it during the draft, but just make it a little bit more difficult. Try to keep putting pressure on Devi. You do see both sides actually getting off some pulls here, so that equilibrium is going to potentially come into play. But the good news, at least, if you're Frank, you're still on the Doom, and he has picked up some early armor to try and deal with the TA a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. And I think once you get a few too many items, it does become relatively difficult for you to get pushed out by Yuma. But unfortunately, it is just Yuma farming. Every single time they use that Scorched Earth, basically the play dies. I think that's why he's already gone for more points in that Devour, because you kind of have to. New Doom is a little bit more greedy just because you've been pushed in that avenue by Ice Frog just a little bit more, just a little nudge in that direction, even though Frank is getting up those early phase boots. But I think that's also a matchup thing. You are playing versus TA. You never want to be playing versus that early meld. It's -5 at level 1. It's a very obnoxious, efficient spell.
Yeah, and, well, it hurts a hell of a lot here, as Moose is about to find out, takes that meld to the face. That's about half his HP gone in one hit, and I mean, if Devi were there as well, maybe they look to chase that, but they're not going to really take too many chances, especially if it takes Yuma out of the lane. He has more than caught up farm-wise, so First Blood would be a nice bonus, but if you're not guaranteed to be able to get it, there's no reason to chase out of lane when this setup is so advantageous for them.
Yeah, and the big reason that we're seeing really no action anywhere right now, everyone is very farm focused in this game, and that's also where D2 Hustlers, they don't want to get greedy and throw. You see Yuma, he's just getting salved up on half HP because they know there's no kill potential in this lane as long as he's not harassed out. In addition to that, just don't want to fall behind too far here. But yeah, Device just shields him up, gonna be completely fine.
Yeah, and this is just something that this duo can't really get through right now. As long as Device here, kill potential basically 0. But you still have to try if you're the Lion, right? Otherwise, you don't really serve much of a purpose in this lane. Although, to be fair, I'm not really sure that they could jump onto Frank alone, so would not be surprised if we see Moose maybe start rotating into the jungle a little bit, maybe look to stack up some camps, and you actually see he's not looking for the stacks, he's rotating in to try and protect some rune spawns instead, but the principle sort of remains the same. You're not doing a whole lot in terms of aggressive kill potential down bot, so may as well look to make moves elsewhere. And MJZ, in a similar fashion, started making his way top.
He's got TP.
Ask. Oh, okay. MJZ, nice job dodging the arrow, but yeah, that's... You can dodge the arrow, but you can't dodge Pulse Nova. Ask is just too damn fast with the haste rune, and First Blood will go the way of D2 Hustlers, and, well, Flea still kind of in the area. Threw down the ward. He's got the arrow coming back up, so... Leo style would still be a hard kill here either way, and your Leshrak's on about half mana, so... Looks like they're not going to give it a go. They'll leave Leo style sort of to mind his own business, but the Kunkka just rotates into the jungle and starts to farm. Meanwhile, down bot, Frank and Kim, they may not have kill potential onto Yuma, but they can sure as hell bully Devi.
Yeah, Device still doesn't have his boots left, where unfortunately the movement speed advantage is just a little bit too much there. He just gets run down. Of course, Abaddon is one of those heroes where you don't really mind getting sent back to the well all too often. Just get a mana reset, arguably. Yep, get to refill your mids bottle. You hate to see this if you're Leo style. Esk is just getting some really nice support coming in. I think Esk also has quite the big stack to farm up as well. Also super important whenever you're playing this Lesh, just keeping you at that early lead, because in another 2-3 minutes, if you're not ready for that push, you do lose your opportunity for quite a bit. Also gets yourself a few of those tier 1 items, just get to farm it up. Just very efficient play. Flea's also so good at just making the time to stack, because of course once his mid laner takes that, he takes over the mid lane.
Yeah, stack up, let Esk take it, use sap experience, and now the Lesh is going to move his way top. Well, honestly, MJZ's here. They could try to jump in on him, but it just feels like it's more likely that they just want the objective. MJZ can't really do anything about this, but, well, the reinforcements are coming. You do have the Lion making his way over. Moose is in position. Leo style even TP's up here, so they do not want to give this up without a fight. I think they realize just how sort of timing reliant the D2 Hustlers will be. So if we can stop them from getting those early towers, then their lineup misses that first window, and Lava's heroes will have so much more time to sort of farm and build up that strength. And now you see D2 Hustlers with that first play broken up, they're kind of drifting a little bit. Esk is going to make his way back mid, but now this messes with the plan, right? Because Esk is here, that means Flea can't get that experience, can't get those sort of early levels, so you do still have pushing potential there to a certain degree, but not nearly as strong as what they were looking for up top.
Yeah, and Lava definitely needs to be a little bit conscious of the over-rotation. I think they didn't even know that Leo Style was playing up there. They will scout him out with this nice vision that Flea placed in his downtime mid, but they do get to force their opponents around the map just a little bit here. Guitarro had a nice little play there with his Conjure image. He was actually pulling the wave, so you don't feel confident enough on Esk to actually tank these towers. It's a very real situation where you get X'd, you get killed by one TP from the Kunkka, and then suddenly the game kind of ends for you. But if they can keep making these forcing plays where they almost are directing D2 Hustlers around the map, it'd be very nice. But MJZ,
yeah, they're going in
stop
for
hiding
it
top.
He is certainly pulling him away from the tower for a long time. I mean, there's almost no way he actually gets out of here, as they do track him down, but you have bought time for a response, and there is the response in the jungle. They're jumping onto Yuma, but, well, they don't really have enough damage in this instance. The finger was not ready, so Moose has to fall back. Flea, though, is going to intercept him, and I do not believe that this line is getting out of this one. He is slowed up by multiple traps. He's got DOT on him from the urn, and, yeah, Yuma will find the kill. Esk, meanwhile, just carried through with the push up top. So D2 Hustlers is a little bit delayed, but they still get what they want. They find the kills, they find the objectives, and now they need to keep going, really. They have to continue to put this pressure on, and right on cue, they find Frank down bot. They don't find the arrow, however, so without that stun, yeah, they're not really going to chase any further. Frank actually, well, he just got the Midas delivered to him, so it's not like he was going to turn around to fight one way or the other, but he is able to avoid that aggression for now.
Yeah, and that's where, how do D2 Hustlers actually get onto the mid tower? Is it going to be a smoke from Esk once he gets the Yule Scepter? Is it just going to be kind of the raw push coming in from Monster with his Hood of Defiance? They're still looking for those opportunities. He's going to get right-click pretty hard here top, though.
First spike, momentary stun. It was removed by the Kraken Shell. Now they're going to go in with the Moonlight Shadow, actually, and, well, Guitar doesn't want to chase any further, which is a bit unfortunate, considering he did commit the meta. He's obviously going to be able to use it to farm, but they were hoping to get that kill on the Tide, but that's just not an easy kill, right? Monster is relatively tanky here, and now they know that there's two heroes who are up in the top lane, so they're looking on the D2 Hustler side to start pressuring mid again, but MJZ was able to come in here. He's going to act as the primary defender. You do have a couple of other heroes nearby, so, I mean, if you're D2 Hustlers, this is pretty much the most sort of transparent maneuver possible, but they need it. They need that tier 1 tower to open up this map, and, well, they're not being able to get it just yet, but you've got to try and continue looking for these opportunities.
Yeah, and it's where lava really start to peak up. It's whenever they really do want to make those heavy rotations, because for the next 4 minutes, the only opportunity D2 Hustlers have to make a play on this mid tower is going to be a smoke play with the Tide Hunter, and one that I don't even know if they can make just yet because they're doing such a good job of keeping these waves pushed out. Another big benefit of the Kunkka, a Kunkka who has really just been non-stop farming as well. He, of course, made that one play top, but still it feels like they don't have an easy way onto those towers. That's another nice haste rune, though.
Monster pushed forward for a moment, but again, yeah, he's tanky, but not so tanky that he wants to sit in front of a tower for 30 seconds with his creep wave gone, because the Kunkka continues to just annihilate every time the wave comes forward, and it's actually an interesting one from Leo style. He's just going in for the halberd first, trying to deal with that TA as much as possible, so, well, getting the Sanj up early gives him damage, gives him durability, obviously things that you want from the Kunkka, considering he is really the guy. He's sort of stepping into the role that we often see the Tide Hunter playing, where he just sort of sits in front of a tower and defends it long term. So his durability going to be paramount on that front. But now Devi, he's left alone in the middle lane. There's the... Oh, hold up. Well, timing is a little bit disrupted there. Going on to the Abba, obviously, you do want to be careful of the Aphotic Shield there, maybe breaking things up. But without that connection, they don't actually go all the way in for the kill, so... I mean, I thought Devi was really dead to rights there, but he's able to just walk away, and now he's got teammates nearby. They may look to push their way forward. They're going to throw the sentry down first, and... yeah, Esk is going to clear out the creep wave. Where is that Kunkka? They need him back in position, but he's not here right now. MJZ has to dodge the arrow that keeps him in position for the Gush. They are trying to track him down, doing a fair bit of damage, but not enough to actually finish him off just yet. MJZ buying a lot of time, but... time for what? Who's coming in here? No one is arriving. There is no longer a glyph to defend this, so... D2 Hustlers, I mean, it takes several attempts, but they finally get their mark. They take the tower down. And, well, Leo style, he had the halberd finished off, but against that many heroes, he really wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, and really the only differentiating factor, yeah, as they try to chase down Katara here, is that he used that boat mid, and oh, what a nice Earth Spike.
Big stun, Gush comes through, Sunder, nope, locked down too long, no Sunder play out there, so that is pretty big, right? They get that tier 1 tower that they had wanted for so long, then they immediately turn it into a kill onto the opposing carry. Lava just gets sort of reset a little bit in a bad way.
Yeah, it's really smart as well. I think they make that play knowing that Frank is still just anchoring in this bottom lane. Of course, Frank is incredibly farmed. He is a BKB. He is now going to sit in front for a lot of these fights. He doesn't have to care about that Tide anymore as well. But at the same time, I think because they have that Doom just anchoring down the bottom lane, there isn't that much room for Kataro. I think now that's going to change a little bit. He did farm his one item, but that's where we're still waiting for Leo style. This is a nice Roche attempt.
Yeah, they're going for it. Lava are making their way over, though, and they've got everything. They've got the Doom, they've got the Finger, they've got the Ghost Ship to throw in. Earth Spike only connects onto really 1 or 2, but it does get them the vision that they need. The Doom will be deployed onto Esk, but where's the rest of the initiation? That's a little bit broken up. Moose goes down for nothing. There's no buyback, and you didn't actually stop the Roche attempt. They're still in here. This Doom is just going to run its course, and Esk is going to be just fine. That felt like Lava weren't all on the same page, and it is going to cost them.
Yeah, and you could call it a pathing thing, you could call it a little bit of unfortunate circumstance, but Leo style unfortunately went all the way to the left side of the ramp there as soon as that Doom went down onto Esk, because he thought that Esk was way too far forward, but unfortunately they lose their strongest hero, they use their BKB, they use their Doom, they don't get anything in return, and this is where that tight game of Dota for D2 is kind of coming to fruition.
Leo style is going to get targeted up here. He could try for the TP, but he knows with Flea here it'd be canceled pretty much instantly, so he's just got to try and fight his way out at this point, but there's really nothing he can do fight-wise. He's just completely locked down, and Yuma's going to be the one to get the kill as well, and now D2 Hustlers really feel like they're in a position to try and hit that timing that we were talking about in the draft, right? They've got the pushing power with Esk. They've got the 2 lives up. They just ran into Frank in the jungle. They'll hit him up with the TA trap as well as the arrow. So Frank is going to get picked off here as well. And, well, I mean, he's got so much farm. He's got a BKB. It didn't really do him a whole lot of good there as he just gets taken by surprise. And now on the D2 Hustler side, you see the Blink Dagger picked up by Monster, and actually they're not done looking for kills. Esk was able to catch out MJZ. The Yules into the splitter, sets them up, and this is just horrible for Lava. They've got to really regroup at this point. You cannot afford to keep losing heroes and now losing couriers as well. Esk took down 2 in the aftermath of that fight, so they are just racking up objectives right now.
That's a huge courier as well. That's Qatar's BKB. So he is going to have to wait on the sidelines now if another fight does actually end up happening. I think there's an X over onto Divide, but none of this matters. They don't have enough damage now. We haven't even seen the finger cast yet coming from Moose. I think now they need to create opportunities where they are going to be split up here. Unfortunately, Esk... Oh, this is so well timed from Leo.
They do still get the Torrent down. That's a nice maneuver, but Monster showing off that Blink Dagger. Pushing in. Ravage deployed, connecting onto 3. Divide comes in as well. Yuma's looking for the damage, even spills over onto MJZ as they'll take down Moose first. I don't think this Gyrocopter's getting away, but if it could get his core out of there, that would be fine. And, well, maybe fine's not the right word, but it'll at least be something, as Leo Style was able to walk away. But now D2 Hustlers, they find a couple of support kills. They're in onto another objective, pushing hard for the tier 2, and that damage was coming in even before S got involved. He's going to help this one out, but they do need their creeps. There we go. Creep wave comes in, backdoor protection removed, and now if you're Lava, do you want to mount a defense here? Leo Style's trying to set up for it. They do get the X down onto Yuma. Ghost Ship is flying through as well, but even if they kill him off once, they're going to have to get him again as the Aphotic Shield comes through, absorbing a lot of that damage. Monster, though, blinking forward, getting the Anchor Smash, reducing all the outgoing damage from these Lava heroes, and now they've got the Yules onto the Kunkka. The arrow won't connect, but the Splitter will. Kim taken down, Leo Style on the run. He'll be finished off, too. And Lava, they just can't seem to get anything going. We have not seen this team sort of struggle to this degree at any point in their prior 2 series, but right now, D2 Hustlers are just kind of smashing them.
Yeah, unfortunately, Frank doesn't have a target. He knows anyone he dooms is already doing their job, so there's really no opportunity for them to make that turn. They're just not picking one target and then finishing him off till the end. They're always getting saved up from Divide. They can't even waste any of their disables to try and chain with the Abaddon kind of stuck off to the left or the right, and that's one of the big drawbacks of this position 5 gyro is you are really not providing all too much when you're playing from behind here. It feels like MJZ is not that beast level 13 gyrocopter with maxed out spells and a veil that we've seen all so many times in this tournament already. It just feels like they're getting completely outpaced. This is the most important timing for D2 Hustlers as well. They already got Lava's Glyph, so all of these towers are just falling incredibly quickly. If they wanted, they could even poke the high ground right now. I think BKB, yeah, did finally get delivered to Kataro, but is this going to be enough for them to be able to defend here?
Yuma's got a BKB flying out to him as well, so your Templar Assassin is going to be even less vulnerable even once this Aegis times out, and yeah, here comes the push. Yuma's going to lead the charge. Esk playing very cautiously there. He could have gone in for the Edict and tried to sort of accelerate that push, but at that point, if you're putting Esk and Yuma on the front line, maybe you're open to some sort of counterplay, so they would rather take the chip damage and back away safely. And now they have eyes on Leo's Style. They'll slow him up with the trap. Flea, if he could hit a good arrow here, would set up for the kill. Not going to throw it out just yet. There's the arrow, though, and it will hit. Monster comes in with the gush now as well, and I do not think Leo Style's getting out of this one. He throws down a defensive boat. That ghost ship will not save him. He does fall,
Yuma.
but they are looking, as you said, yeah, trying to get onto Yuma. Could they time this up perfectly? That Aegis is going to be timing out, but look at Monster in for the Ravage. Kataro, though, well, he activated the BKB, so he's still fighting. Maybe he can get a kill here onto Esk. That is going to be big for him, but the rest of his team really sort of melted away. Frank is now in trouble. Arrow connects from long range just for the direct kill into Flea's hands, and it's a very nice kill onto the Leshrac, but it's the only thing that they get, and Kataro is the lone survivor here, and he actually kind of needs to leave. Hustlers are coming in onto him, looking for the Moonlight Shadow, and he does back himself off before anyone can arrive, but you don't even really get to farm after getting that one kill.
Yeah, it's a real good opportunity for Lava to try and take there, but it was a 4v5. It was without their Kunkka. Leostar, of course, got picked off just a little bit before that, but still, they took the fight away from their objectives. If there's one thing going for Lava is they're still finding these engagements away from their towers, so D2 Hustlers can't immediately put pressure onto their buildings. So it's time. The name of the game is time. If Kataro, again, can get this Scotty, then this game looks very different. That is your slow. That's your little bit of disable. It's hard to say that you need the Scotty to simply finish off kills on these Doom targets, but with it, Yuma is most likely going to die in these forward positions. Same with Divide, where it becomes almost impossible for these heroes to walk up to the Kataro Terrorblade. We're just not at that point yet. And that's where I think once this Roche is respawning or getting close to it, that's where the game is either going to be won or lost by these teams.
And this is honestly something I kind of like from the Lava side. I mean, they're down 16-2, so there isn't a whole lot to like, but the fact that... Oh, hold on. I'll get to that in a second because it might change. Frank's going to get jumped in on here. BKB popped. MJZ, it's a nice call down there. Damage, obviously, pretty much non-existent, but the slow just sort of delays the push in. It allows for the retreat from some of these heroes, and Lava do get themselves away, but that does play into the point I was going to make. We're not seeing Lava trying to make some sort of panic move that their lineup isn't designed for, right? They continue to farm. They continue to bide their time. They know, listen, our window is going to come later, and the worst thing we could do right now is try some crazy home run play to try and get back into it earlier than our own timing, which leads to them falling further and further behind. But if those plays work, cool, okay, you've sort of clawed it back, but you still need to farm on your cores. If the plays fail, then you have potentially slammed the door in your own face. So it is rough for them right now, and they still are going to have to mount a comeback, but I like the fact that they're not trying to do so too early.
Yeah, and as we keep on saying, they're playing their out, they know what they're capable of, and it's unfortunate because if any of their prior plays did work, this game would look way easier for them. Their supports would be not nearly as low level as they are right now, same with the Kunkka, but that's where I think it's these comeback plays where can they actually make a breach onto this mid-tier 1 tower where they haven't played the entire game. This is risky from them, especially with Kataro showing so forward up. I think D2 Hustlers are going to know, and Divide, yeah, he just walks into him knowing.
They won't even really go for him. They see Kataro, actually. They get the arrow. The BKB wasn't activated. Now the Ravage comes through. They need to be able to blow him up, and they've got him. Kataro taken down. No BKB active. Moves will fall as well, and oh boy. I don't know about that one. Not popping the BKB there was so risky, so greedy. And they are going to get punished for it, and now if you're D2 Hustlers, here's your opening, right? You got 3 kills. Sure, there's some buybacks, but you have a chance to push your way forward. They are looking straight in onto that mid-tier 3. And, well, if Lava do buy back, they didn't use too many of their ults there, so I suppose they could mount a defense. It's just a matter of whether they want to spend that gold right now and take that risk. They are going to pop the glyph first, but that really doesn't do much. It only slows the push down. It can't actually stop it. Tier 3 gone, and it doesn't look like there's going to be a defense mounted at all.
No, not just that. They could immediately reposition this fight around the Roche. Yeah, just a defensive arrow. Stop Leostov from grabbing anyone with the X. This is just a tight game from D2 Hustlers. They're giving their opponents really nothing to grab at here, and they have Radiant advantage. There's no way for Lava to get into this Roche pit unless they smoke through that mid lane to actually get there in time. But that's where D2, they're also making a really smart play. They're giving up literally no opportunities over to Lava. As soon as they see Lava Hero break towards that bottom lane, they know that they can go into Roche with full confidence here. But Kataro,
did they catch him? Not able to. That's close. Once again, though, Kataro holding that BKB as long as he can. Frank comes in, drops the Doom onto Yuma. So your TA is, at least for now, out of the fight, but they need to actually catch somebody. The Finger of Death comes through. That might just be enough for the DOT to do its job, but the TA still not going down. Eventually, Frank is going to get the kill, but now they need to be able to clean this one up. They're in onto Divide. They hit him up with the Torrent into the Ghost Ship. That should be enough for them to bring that Abbot down. They already burned through his ult, but now Monster blinking his way forward, trying to be that tanky frontliner, hoping that S doesn't get jumped in on, but Kataro, he knows exactly what he wants. Jumps in for the kill, but now Yuma's bought back, and Kataro needs the Sunder, and he gets it off onto Monster of all heroes, taking a lot of that tankiness away from the Tidehunter. But Monster not going down without a fight here. He took down Moose, and with Kataro getting slowed up by the trap, well, maybe he can get out. He's going to blink now, but he has no TP for 45, so he's just going to have to hide in the tree line. Leo Style says no, absolutely not. He is going to go looking for it. There is a singular tree keeping those two away from each other, but once it's cut down, Monster's on the run once again. The X is going to pull him back in. Frank's there with the Infernal. then they will find that final kill. So that's the fight Lava needed really that whole time. They have to sacrifice the 2 supports, but look what they get in exchange. 3 kills and the buyback on the TA, actually 4 kills if you include Monster getting taken down there on the back end.
Yeah, I think really it's unfortunate Divide didn't have his buyback as well. I think if S can somehow survive in that position, you can actually use the TA buyback to look for really the game win there. You get the second Roche, and then suddenly I think you just can push onto this high ground and probably look for the GG while Lava don't have Glyph. But now the game, even though there isn't a meta on Kataro, is going to be way more difficult to breach that high ground. There's going to be BKB on Leo style. There's going to be probably an armor item on Frank in just a few minutes here. And then your targets are starting to fade away if you're D2. Once Monster's alive, they're probably going to look for a smoke into the Roche, or they're just going to look to start it in the first place. But arrow connected on Leo style.
Frank cancels his TP. That may have been a bit of a rough one. He's just going to get blown up right away. So the fight hits Lava in a position where they weren't really ready for it. And now... well, now we've got a pause. Device says he has a problem with his hotkeys. Okay. Not entirely sure what happened there, but looks like that issue's been resolved. We'll get back to the fight. We'll see if Lava can get people out of here. They're trying not to use BKBs at the moment, and they're not going to have to. If you're D2 Hustlers, you got the 1 kill. You picked off the Doom. Now they're going to make their way over to the Roche pit, and if Lava want to contest this, they have to do it in a 4v5, and they really just aren't even looking that way. You see all of their heroes just scattering to the winds, so this should be a free Roshan for that Hustler side.
Yeah, there's nothing they can do, and they inevitably get what they want. They don't even give Yuma the Aegis. They say that Esk is going to need it, especially because he doesn't have his own defensive BKB. Of course, this does not change Frank's target at all. He's still going to be looking for the Doom onto that TA, but at the same time, you just need to be way less worried about Esk. You don't need to be nearly as close to him as Devi has been previously. We're still going to be around to purge off any stuns that are going to land here, but this is their moment still. No Glyph. There's really nothing for them to be afraid of.
Tier 3 tower starting to take some damage, but this is always the sort of benefit here with Kataro and Leo style. They clear through things pretty quickly. Arrow flies out though, and uh-oh, Leo style, he gets hit. Can they actually push in for this, though? That is such a long stun. Monster now comes in with the Ravage. MJZ and Leo style both dead. Neither one have buybacks, so Kataro, he's going to have to carry the weight here. You see him pop the meta in the BKB, pushing his way forward. Frank now tries to come in as well, looking for the Doom, but the Force Staff gets Yuma away, so instead, he really just has to fall back. His own BKB will be activated. And now Esk, I mean, he's got the Shard. He picked it up after Roshan, so if he starts throwing in the Splitters there, Lava may have to sort of back off of their own high ground, and, well... I don't know how this defense is going to go, ET. They've used two BKBs, and they're still waiting on those respawns. And now Monster, okay, he's going to act as the buffer. Just blinks his way forward. S comes in, gets off the Yules, but good play from Moose with that Hex. It does cost him his life, but he's at least able to afford Kataro the opportunity to fall back. But with him falling back, they're just going to go after another lane of Rax. The Glyph, though, will be coming in. Lava just trying to buy time. Kunkka's back up. You're 5 seconds away from MJZ. Frank, actually, that's... okay, wow. That is a very early move in. He did get the Doom down, but it cost him his own life. Leo style, though, still looking for the kill. Trying to take Yuma out. They need 1 or 2 more hits. At this point, though, the DOT may actually just do the job by itself, and it will be exactly that scenario. Yuma now falls. Esk is going to lose his first life. And Lava are setting up onto him a second time, but they need to deal with the splitter. Stuns coming in. Kataro's going to pop the BKB, but he doesn't have his meta, so his damage output isn't as high as they need it to be. He's still looking for this kill, but the defensive Yules gets Esk into the air, and now you see Kataro and Leo style actually falling back. Another splitter stun, though, coming in. Leo style stunned up. He was able to use the X to get Esk away from him initially, but he's still just taking too much damage. The DOT is there from that Pulse Nova. They're going to be able to take Leo style down a second time. Moose falls as well, and Kataro, well... I mean, he's going to give it an attempt, I suppose, at this point, because they haven't GG'd out yet, but it's a lone Terror Blade. If you're Hustlers, though, you can't actually go for the Megas. There's still a Tier 1 and a Tier 2 down bot, and apparently they don't quite feel confident enough to push in for the Tier 4 towers and just go for the win.
Yeah, they don't want to get caught in a position where they don't have their strongest hero. They don't want to die to Kunkka buyback if somehow he scrapes it together and then they die under tier 4 towers. That's the way they throw this game, and they give Kataro probably another item in a few more levels. So instead they go for the safe play. It's very smart, it's very patient, but it's exactly what they need to do. and you're going to have Monster having his Ravage as well. I can't believe Flea is still connecting with these arrows 30 minutes into this game. Every single time he hits, it is a hero that doesn't know if they need to BKB or not, but it's just chained to death every single time.
Yeah, especially that one onto Leo style at the start. That was the biggest, longest duration stun possible, and you saw Monster just takes the opportunity, blinks in for the Ravage, and that one play sets him up. They took 2 lanes of racks off of that, or finished the second lane, rather, and I don't know what the plan would have been without that X, or not the X, excuse me, the arrow connection. Would they have just tried to sort of bash their way through, send Esk up there, go for the chip damage? The fact that they don't even have to think about that, though, because Flea can set them up, is a luxury that, as of right now, we're not really seeing from anyone on the Lava side to counteract it.
And Lava look like they're setting up to try and throw D2 off of their guard here. Of course, D2 don't have an Aegis anymore. They can make this smoke knowing that they can kill the target they start on. Frank would love to find Yuma again. That would be the perfect target for them. Guitar also got a crit, so now he has a little bit more damage to beat into that last Shrek. Or a Monster. Okay.
Quick jump in, Doom deployed, so the Tide can't throw the Ravage out here. Devi, however, he was able to absorb a fair bit of that damage, but it looks like Monster will still fall. They get the Tide. Not going to get anything else, though. Quick TP out from Devi and Llama, while Flea just used, well, not even the leap charges, just kind of walked away from that engagement. So, on the one hand, that's still a big kill. Lava get the Tide, they take him off the field for 60 seconds, but that was a 5-man smoke for that kill. Now you're looking for a little bit more. You see Kitaro casting his gaze towards that middle lane, will be able to take the tier 1 tower down, so they are potentially looking to build up a little bit of momentum, but they do need to be careful. The Tide does have a buyback, so if they're looking for some sort of retribution on the D2 Hustler side, they would have the means to have him buy back, maybe TP onto the outpost and start a fight that way.
Yeah, I think Lava, they're taking the time that this Tide Death has given. D2, they want to completely ignore this Doom. If they go as soon as the Tide is up, there's going to be 40 seconds where Frank is just going to be a creep. I think that's why you see Esk drawing in the bottom lane. He wants to get this push down there started. He wants to get the end of this game finally begun, because he knows as soon as he kills that bottom tier 1 tower, they have another glyph, they have another very difficult tier 3 push ahead of them, so he wants to try and strike while they're not having too many key spells up. But this rat play is also interesting. They could really freak out Lava here, force them all back into the base.
You see the Tide Hunter TPing onto that outpost in the north side jungle as well, so I think they're just sending for a top, and the Tide, is he going to join them, or will he be the distraction? Oh, okay, they're just going to go for the tier 4s. Lava suddenly realizing the base is under attack, and the TPs start to come in. Moose is going to get here first. Frank TP's in now as well, but by the time everyone's here, one of the tier 4s has already fallen. The other one's starting to come under attack. Frank jumps in, but there's no Ravage, so Monster makes his move, jumping in. The Ravage goes down. And Frank, I mean, he's already dead. He's dead for 70. There's no buyback available. Kataro, though, trying to hold the line, but he's going to get hit by the disarm, so he's not dishing out any damage, and this defense is not going fantastically. BKBs are still being held, though, on those lava cores, so they're not all into the fight just yet. There's going to be the buyback from the Lion. Now Kataro pops that BKB as well as the meta, and they're going to try and push their way forward, but they need the vision. They do manage to dust up a couple, but they don't want to chase that far. They'd be chasing into all 5, so they have to back themselves away, but now Kataro's used his BKB. Leo style needs his, really, at this point. Otherwise, he's just going to get run down before he can get to the fountain, but he still takes so much physical damage, and he's sort of hanging out in the middle. He does get the X into the ghost ship, but none of this is working. None of this damage is sticking. D2 Hustlers are just absorbing all of it and continuing their march forward. They are going to be able to find one kill. MJZ taken down. They catch out moves as well, so both of the supports are down. No buybacks available. Now they'll turn their attention back to the tier 4. Cutting through it. The Ancient's been exposed, so now if you're Lava, don't fall back. You don't have time. You've got to go now. There is no sort of window left, and they know that they really can't do anything. The GG gets called. And D2 Hustlers taking the win here in game number 1. Really executing the game plan exactly the way that they needed to avoid that TB's timing window.
Yeah, what a tight game from them. They really did everything right. They hit every single moment that they needed to. Of course, Frank was the wrench in the works. He had a few good dooms there to actually end up killing Yuma. The few situations where they were able to separate that TA from the Abaddon are the only situations where Yuma was actually taken down. But unfortunately, nothing hit. Every single play that Lava made for such a long time there was just not working. Every single time they went for a smoke, every single time they tried to make a play on one of the supports, it just felt like nothing was really hitting, and that made their lineup so much more difficult to execute. If really Moose, MJZ, if any of them are having a better game, it's really that core Moose and MJZ plus Leo style. If any of them get any kills in those first 20 minutes of this game, that's so much more space for Kitaro. And if he could finally farm up a few more items, that's that nightmare situation where suddenly it's impossible for D2 Hustlers to break that high ground. And I think, unfortunately, as soon as they lost hold of that second Roche where Yuma does inevitably have to buy back and they get that momentum coming from really just that, then the game gets way more difficult for Lava. Every single time it felt like they were going to claw back. They were always playing at a gold deficit. But man, Flea and Esk, every single time that Yules was on one of these targets, you have to make an impossible decision on Lava. And they didn't have any force staffs to get those cores out of those decisions. It just felt like they weren't ready to play versus these heroes, even though Flea continuously proves that he is one of the best Miranas in the region.
Yeah, absolutely incredible game from him, and just never really missing a beat on that D2 Hustler side. And I mean that not just in the game, but all the way through the entirety of this matchup, even back to the draft. They set themselves up in a position where obviously we knew what they needed to do, right? We said they have to sort of push early. If they miss that window, then you're dealing with a late game TB, but they drafted a lineup that they knew would at least give them the opportunity to push that tempo and get out to that early lead. And I mean, we can see from the net worth and experience graphs, once they finally sort of shifted all of that into their favor around that 20-minute mark, they just never looked back. So I think in their instance, well drafted, they adjusted well to what Lava put together, and then they played even better in terms of the actual execution.
Yeah, and yet again, we're seeing a Doom struggle just a little bit to try and find these targets. I think if teams are going to first phase this Doom versus the Tidehunter, you need to find a hero that gives him the vision, someone to go in before him. It's why so many times we were seeing the hood or the Helm of the Dominator built up on heroes like the Tidehunter for that express reason where you send the creep in, you see who you're actually trying to kill, and then you find your targets. There's so many missed opportunities because he simply doesn't have the vision. He doesn't have the ability to see his opponents. And I think that's where this Doom is really falling apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. Well, in game two, if Lava honestly just try to shift away from the Doom altogether, because that performance really was not what they were hoping for. I think maybe they put Frank on someone who can be a little bit more active, who's going to be a little bit less farming focused, especially if they're looking for heroes like TB and Kunkka again, because at that point, you just have too many heroes farming in too small of a space. So Lava going to need to make some adjustments here. Meanwhile, D2 Hustlers riding high on this incredibly impressive win, looking now for a chance to kind of shock us a little bit. If they could pull off a 2-0 sweep against Lava, that would be absolutely fantastic for them, not just for their own confidence, but also for their position in those standings on top of it. So with that in mind, we are going to be stepping away for just a couple of minutes. When we return, though, it will be game two between D2 Hustlers and Lava. So stick around, and we'll be right back.